The artistic director for Persephone Theatre is Heather Cant. She's in studio today, and I want to thank you for coming down and making time.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I just saw you introduce a play recently, and your magnetism on stage is very infectious. So thank you for everything you're doing there. As an artistic director, where does that field and profession come from? Is it something that you woke up one day and said, gosh, I want to be an artistic director? How does that happen?
Yeah, kind of. I started my career as an actor, as many people do in our industry, before we start branching out into other fields, right? Particularly as young people, acting is what is most accessible to us through school, usually, or community theater. So yeah, I started as an actor, but when I was in my early 20s, I recognized right away that I wanted to be an artistic director, but I felt like I needed to kind of cut my teeth and gain a lot of experience in a number of different realms before I took on that mantle. Because it's a large job, it requires a lot of like knowledge and relationships and a real sense. I think like my approach to artistic direction is viewing that role, that artistic leadership role, as a service to the community. So it isn't about, me trying to achieve my own end goals for myself.
Yeah.
It is really about ensuring that I am working for the best interests of the community that the theater serves.
I think that's interesting. Over the years that I've attended, there are some that are really captivating, and you must, I don't think that you see a video and say, gosh, I've seen the trailer, I want that one. Do you just read the play and then try and imagine who would be a good actor or actress for that?
Yeah, that's certainly part of it. I watch a lot of theater. I read a lot of plays. Sometimes I do get the opportunity to see an archival, it's what we call it, of a previous production that maybe I didn't get to see in person. Sometimes it's because they're touring across Canada and they're looking for theaters to present them, which we do periodically on the Persephone stage. But often you have to read the play and you have to be able to lift it visually in your mind and imagine it on the stage. It takes practice to be able to imagine what it can be, from words to real life embodied on stage. But I guess that's my job. So yeah, I read plays and I do imagine who that might who that might benefit here in Saskatoon. So I often am programming the plays, not just for the conversations that they'll start within the community, but also to make use of the talents that we have here. So sometimes I have particular people in mind where I'm like, that person's really great at, X. What play could we do? What play could we do that would make use of their skill? So that is certainly an avenue that I do consider programming through. And then sometimes, like we're currently in rehearsals for a production of $1 Million Quartet. And we're doing that play mostly because I'm shocked that Persephone's never done it before. But since I've been here, the show that people have talked to me most about in Persephone's history that they loved the most was Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
See, everybody loved
there,
Buddy
yeah.
Holly. And I was like, you know what? We've never done $1 Million Quartet. And if our audience loved Buddy Holly, they are going to love
this.
$1 Million Quartet. So we're doing that. And it's a great opportunity for some of the local artists that are participating. Some of them have never worked for Persephone before, some have. And at the same time, we're bringing in these 4 incredible actor musicians who play, the big names in this play, Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, and Jerry Lee Lewis, that are incredible talents literally from Vancouver to Charlottetown, from across the country, to be able to bring them here for Saskatoon audiences. So it is a bit of a blend of both, right? What can we do to celebrate the local talent that we have here? What kind of conversations do we want to be having in this community that art can help facilitate? And at the same time, what can we bring from elsewhere in Canada to share with a Saskatoon audience that they would never otherwise get to see unless they were traveling and choosing to go to the theater. So Old Stock, for example, a refugee love story, which we did 3 seasons ago, is one such show. It tours, and they look for theaters to go and travel to share that story. Catalyst Theatre that we had earlier this season with the Invisibles, Agents of Ungentlemanly Warfare. They're a touring company. They don't have a home theater like we do. They make shows specifically to tour to other venues, and Persephone helps facilitate a really robust touring life for other Canadian work to be able to travel the country.
Well, you mentioned community, and I think that the last one, I think it was Made in Italy, that
Yes.
a beautiful package. Utilized the neighborhood restaurants and pubs after with the night at Bar Stella, and walk over to the theater for the
Fantastic
the show.
food
It
at Bar
was
Stella.
amazing. If you looked at other shows that you're bringing in, what are some others that you can share a little bit that's happening in the upcoming season?
Well, in the upcoming season, we're just in the planning stages right now. So we announced the new season last month. So our audiences know what those shows are going to be. I even brought you a brochure.
I'll take it.
I brought you a brochure. So those shows have been announced, and right now we're in the planning stages. So that means I'm working with the directors of those shows right now to hire the designers, to do auditions and cast the shows with the actors. And I'm working with the marketing department and our community building, the youth programming, our artistic associates, to be able to begin to plan what else we can do to help engage the community as a whole in the work that we're doing at Persephone.
Are you looking at, I guess, shopping for plays, and I really admire the number of times that I've attended that there are some, even made in Italy, that a couple of emotional moments there that really struck out for a sole actor to carry the night. What else do you see when you look at the play? There's got to be a budget involved. I can't imagine. I mean, the set building is phenomenal. How do you bring that all together? Are there kind of tips of the iceberg that you see that I can do that?
Yeah, there are many considerations. There is always a budget involved.
Yeah.
I do have to program within our means. But we have an incredible production team. So sometimes I'm looking at plays for what will be fun for them to build. Our carpenter and our head of props, our scenic painter, what would be a fun thing for them to get to do something exciting? I consider who in our local community we can engage as artists to showcase their skills. Sometimes we're looking to work with a playwright locally. We premiered a new play, world premiere of a new play by a Saskatoon playwright. That was 18 Jews Order Chinese Food by Jenna Barenbaum. That was in February. And at the same time, we're a regional theater, so we're servicing a lot of people from cradle all the way to our senior patrons. So we like to think of ourselves as having a theatrical offering for anyone at any age. So we offer young audience programming. Next month we're offering a show for audiences as young as 18 months old. We've never done that before, so I'm excited about that. And I come usually to the table when we're looking to finalize our season. I chat with Brianne Harmon, who's our executive director, and I say, okay, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'd like to do. How does this, when we budget it and we work it all out, what would it cost? And then we go, okay, we can't, it doesn't quite work. So then I have to prioritize. Okay, what am I really committed to? I really want to do this. I really want to do that. Okay, but that means that we can't afford this other thing. So what can I have a long list. My short list of plays that Persephone is going to do in the coming years is actually very long. So I usually have something else that I can put in there and say, okay, if we can't afford that 15-person play, we can afford this 8-person play or this 4-person play. You know, there are a lot of other financial considerations too in what we choose to put on stage, because there's a lot of people that work behind the scenes. So for a musical, for example, it's not just the number of actors on stage, it's also how many band members are required, because we usually are working with a live band. People often think it's recorded. We are usually working with a live band. There's a music director, there's a choreographer, you know, there's a whole team behind the scenes that are working to create those shows, and they factor into the budget as well. So it can be quite complicated moving the pieces. I like to describe it like this. I'm putting a puzzle together, but I'm doing it above the table. So it's like floating above the table. And then when we're ready to lock in the season, I snap my fingers and it all falls down to the table. And sometimes a piece pops out and then you have to fix it. But most of the time, it is all of those elements have to gel simultaneously for it to work. If you change one thing, it kind of disrupts the equilibrium of everything.
You caught me there. You're very good at this, because I'm looking for a puzzle right about where you're pointing to. You're
It's my good mime skills.
You're very believable. I want to find out if people do want to get more information about the shows, or want to buy tickets or group tickets or something like that, would they talk to you, or where would they go for that information?
Yeah, they can come visit us at the theater. Absolutely. We're down on River Landing on Spadina Crescent, 100 Spadina Crescent in the Ramey Art Center. Or they can visit our website, which is persephonetheatre.org. We have a whole assortment of shows next season, and I've really looked at exciting ways to engage with storytelling and spectacle and what that means. So every show has something slightly different that I hope our audience has never experienced before. They can offer them something new to be thrilled by in coming to a live performance.
I love a challenge. You're doing great there. Thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you.
That's our show for today. I'd like to thank our guests, Heather Cant and Brianne Harmon from Persephone Theatre. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. We'll see you next time on Connect.